as the economy gets worse and worse. The administration, they keep peddling more dumb excuses, one after another. You know, the usual Biden excuse. For example, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, she was supposed to be a brilliant economic mind. As it turns out, Janet has lost all touch with reality. She now wants you to believe that a future Supreme Court ruling on Roe v. Wade is the cause of Joe Biden's economic and energy policies and all the problems we had. I thought this was all caused by Putin and Donald Trump. I guess I was wrong.
If the draft of the court's majority holding in Roe versus Wade is the actual decision, what impact will the loss of abortion access mean economically for women?
Well, I believe that eliminating the right of women to make decisions about when and whether to have children would have very damaging effects on the economy and would set women back decades.
There won't be a loss of abortion access. There might be restrictions in some states, but there's going to be plenty of opportunities for everyone that wants one. Now, remember, this is the same Janet Yellen that promised inflation was transitory. Janet was wrong. Inflation is not transitory. Our economy is a train wreck, and yet Janet Yellen continues to toe the party line. At this point, she really is nothing more than a useful idiot, and it's past time that she sail off into retirement. Here now with reaction is Fox Business anchor Larry Kudlow. Larry, am I mistaken? Aren't we to get new inflation numbers, consumer price index numbers tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, you'll get them tomorrow. CPI comes out tomorrow.
So it's interesting that Joe held a press conference on inflation today, because I would assume that tomorrow's numbers, even if they decrease from the previous month, are still going to be a 40-year high. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, I think that's fair. The trend line's not going to change. And, you know, Joe Biden, he probably got that number sometime in the middle to late afternoon. I used to be in that loop. But, look, all he did was play the Biden blame game today. There's nothing new. He wants to continue to spend. He wants to continue to restrict fossil fuels of all kinds. Gasoline prices hit a record high. He also wants to continue to tax. He's also blaming I just love that he blamed Putin. There's one in there. He blamed Rick Scott. He blamed, what's it, Ultra MAGA? I don't know what that is, Sean. Maybe you can help me. I may be Ultra MAGA. I'm not really sure. But he blamed that. He blamed congressional Republicans.
You're just an irredeemable, deplorable that cling to your God, guns, Bibles, religion, and probably shop at Walmart like I do, and you probably smell when you shop. There was a piece.
But can I say something, Sean?
What?
Just one point. I just want to mention, look, I'm very, very strong pro-life, defending the life of the unborn. And what Janet Yellen said today in that Senate hearing was bizarre, deplorable. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. Since Roe v. Wade, Sean, I'm sure you know these numbers. Since Roe v. Wade, over 63 million abortions have been performed. Those are 63 million of God's created babies who would never see the light of day, who never would grow up, who never would become productive people in our economy and our society. We lost 63 million. That is a great damaging blow to the economy, apart from the moral problem involved in that. What Yellen said today was grotesque and deplorable, and she ought to take it back, because nobody could respect somebody who comes out and makes a statement like that actually more abortions would be good for the economy. It's just utter nonsense, bizarre, grotesque.
Okay, let me ask you this.
I'm sorry, I just want to say that.
Well, I don't disagree, and even people that I know that say they're pro-choice, they're not as extreme as where the modern Democratic Party is, which is you can have an abortion even hours before giving birth, and that would be perfectly legal and acceptable to some of them. I want to ask you this economic question. We now had a report today, 2/3 of Americans are now living paycheck to paycheck. I mentioned in my opening monologue that the average American household is paying, according to Bloomberg, about $5,200 extra in Biden inflation. Now, if you put those two facts together and then you artificially reduce the supply of the lifeblood of the world's economy, and that is oil, gas, and coal, like Joe Biden did when he became president. And now you beg Iran and Venezuela and OPEC to produce the oil that we could be producing ourselves. When you do that, Larry, isn't that a guarantee that everything you buy in every store you go to is going to cost more because supply and demand crisscross and dictate the price, and you reduce the supply, demand remains constant? That means we're paying more for everything, and he caused it. Am I wrong in that analysis?
No, you're basically right.
Basically, I get a B.
Inflation
Okay.
is the cruelest.
B minus. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're working on a good, solid B. Okay, we can work with that.
Thanks a lot.
Inflation is the cruelest. Inflation is the cruelest tax of all. So your point about $5,200 a year for a typical American family is a very important point. But here's the strangeness of this whole progressive agenda, which has failed so badly. Here's Biden up there blaming everybody else. But, he wants to keep spending, which means more inflation. In other words, spend and borrow. He wants the Federal Reserve to purchase the bonds and inject more money. But he also is blaming fossil fuel producers. His issue on gasoline, he has no sense of how important it is to produce more oil and gas, including LNG. He has no sense of that. So his White House people have the most restrictive environmental permitting in our history, which will knock out oil and gas pipelines, LNG. But here's the bizarre part. It'll also knock out the infrastructure. Bridges, roads, and highways will not pass their environmental tests. And even more bizarre, the Green New Deal people who want more solar and more wind turbines and so forth, they won't pass muster the way these regulations have been reconstructed.
We're now predicting
Trump stopped all that
brownouts.
stuff.
We're now predicting brownouts
Yes.
around the country because of these insane energy policies. Larry, I got to run. As a guest, you get about a C+. I really appreciate you being with us. But in all but it's the poor, it's the middle class, people on fixed incomes. They're getting slaughtered unnecessarily. We do not need to force this suffering on people. Yeah, last word.
Think of this. This is the ultimate failure of the left-wing progressive agenda. And the really good news here is that most Americans have a lot of common sense. So you look at these polls, and they are completely rejecting the progressive agenda, big government socialism, and so forth and so on. And so the cavalry is coming, Sean. The cavalry is coming.
Let's start in November. Larry Kudlow, thank you.